guys, how are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? So we are on day number 4 of the Storytime marathon that I'm doing this week. There is a Storytime out for you guys every single day back to back, so make sure you check out the previous ones and the ones still to come. There's still 1 or 3. I haven't decided if I'm going to do like a Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday. Probably Monday to Friday. So maybe, yeah, I'll do one more after this one. So this is the second last one of the Storytime marathon week, and I hope you guys have been enjoying. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up all the story times you guys enjoy and all of that jazz. Now let's get straight on to this story time. So today's story time is going to be about the time that I helped my friend get out of jail. Now this friend was introduced to me when I was about 20 years old. I'm not sure. I was early 20s. I had actually heard of this guy. I was gonna say boy, but he's actually a grown-ass man. We will name him Pinocchio because he a damn liar. So Pinocchio and I became really close despite the fact that I had already heard about him. A friend from elementary school and high school had dated him previously, and she had been in a long-distance relationship with him only because Pinocchio had been in jail. So basically this guy had a history of, you know, crime, I guess. He had gotten involved in some rough stuff in his youth and had been in jail when he was dating my friend at the time. He also wasn't, like, his mom was very, she was basically done with his shit and didn't really allow him to date, or wasn't all for it just because of everything he was involved in and how much he needed to figure himself out, basically. My friend also had to kind of sneak into his house whenever she wanted to see him, and it was like a whole thing. So I remember this story, and that should have been a red flag for me, like this whole, you know, it shows someone character, but at the same time when I met him, it was years after that, and I didn't want to judge someone for their past. I didn't want to, you know, say that that's his character because he was young and whatever, years have passed, maybe he's changed. He hadn't, but we'll get to that. I didn't know that at the time, but when I was first dating this, not dating, I did not date this guy, ew, no. When I was first friends with this guy, and my battery is dying. We're gonna charge that and we'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I threw on a sweater because it's getting pretty chilly in here. It's pretty cold outside. It's like -20 or something. Anyways, yeah, so during the time that me and this guy were, me and Pinocchio were close, I noticed a little bit of off things about him. Like, we would hang out a lot and we would party and whatnot. We would go out. I'll do another story time of actually a specific situation that happened with him and some of his friends that was really creepy. You know, not normal, weird, and just, anyways, yeah, I'll share that in a different story time. That's a different story for another time. But that happened, as well as a lot of things that were just skeptical to me, but just, I was there as a friend. I was a true ride or die friend for this guy. We were really close. We hung out all the time. He knew everything about my life. I knew everything about his. Like, I knew all about his baby mama drama. He did have a baby mama who he claimed, and this is not throwing shade at his baby mama, but he had claimed that she was some kind of prostitute. She worked at a massage place, and he claimed that she had, you know, like a happy endings, and he showed me a website and he's like, I know her body, and that's pictures of her body and all this stuff. It was really weird, and I was like, okay. And at the time it was like, I was so blind to the bullshit and I just, you know, listened to him, and I was there for him and everything, and I didn't think any of it was ratchet, even though it was. But again, I didn't want to judge anyone for their past or their life and all of that. I met his child and he was a sweetheart. He didn't spend enough time with his child. That's another red flag. He was not very good to him, and I don't want to throw shade at the kind of parent he is, but just in my experience, when I hung out with him, his mom was always complaining about how he didn't take care of his child, but we won't get into that. That was just my perspective, and I really didn't like that. I spent, if anything, when I hung out with Pinocchio, I would spend more time with his child than I did with him. But so anyways, yeah, there was a lot of times that he just kind of called to me for help, and I was like, oh, he's just down and out, you know, I gotta help him. I was working at a daycare, so I had the money. Or was I working at a daycare, or was I nannying? I was nannying, and I was making good money, nannying full-time, making a really good wage because I worked for a really awesome family who was very generous to me. There was one time he bought a new car, and the first thing that happened with that new car, he got an Audi, and he got screwed over basically because this Audi was not, sorry if you see me going like this, it's because I'm trying to get my laptop not to turn off because I'm currently uploading a story time for y'all. But anyways, so yeah, the first thing that happened with this car was that he got screwed over because the car had so much wrong with it. Like, he ended up not even paying the person the full amount that he was supposed to pay for it. Like, it was a whole thing. And basically, he drove me around a lot because I was still busing. I didn't have a car at the time. I can't remember what day of the week it was, but I remember him telling me, like, I need your help, come here right now. He told me where he was, and I'm like, okay. So I bussed over to where he was, and he basically was telling me, like, I need something for my car, it's shut down, I'm at my friend's. Or he was at his friend's and he was trying to, like, drive home or something, and he couldn't start his car wouldn't start. And I'm like, oh, like, what do you need? And he's like, well, I don't have money right now, but I'll pay you next week for this liquid that I need for my car or whatever. He ended up getting the liquid didn't even work for his car, and he never paid me back. Another thing that happened, I don't remember if it was something to do with his car or anything else, but I remember paying for it as well. Never paid me back, never saw that money. He owes me still to this day like $300 to $400 that I've never seen in my life. So that's great. Yeah, so those were some of the sketchy little things that would happen, but the ultimate thing that happened where I was just like, what am I doing? What? And my mom had warned me about this. She was like, what are you doing? What do you mean your friend is... Anyway, so I'll get into the actual story time that this is about. I just wanted you guys to have a little context of the kind of person he was and how much he didn't deserve my friendship. So basically, he starts telling me the story about his baby mama. He was having baby mama drama, and I can't remember what it was about that they were arguing about, but she, according to him, she was claiming that he threatened her friend to set her car on fire. And that is a threat. Like, you can get sued for that, you can go to jail for that and everything. And he was like, I did not say that. And I was completely convinced that he was innocent because he showed me the texts and all of this, you know, like he was talking to his lawyer and all of this. The police was contacted in this, so he was being accused of threatening assault, or I don't know what the charge actually was called. It was basically like he was gonna do some crazy. So he's really nervous, and he says like he has a court date and all of this, and I'm like all wrapped up in this, and I'm like, well, I gotta, you know, be a true friend and like be there for him. So basically Pinocchio had a court date, and then I went to that. I wasn't allowed to say anything. He had an interpreter, he had a lawyer, and court dates are so messed up. I never want to be in there again. I never want to have to put up with this ever again. But I was there not only to help him, but to help his mom because she spoke Spanish. She didn't understand English, so I was translating for her and everything. And I went with him, and then he was just like in this box, handcuffed and everything. And, you know, the judge was making decisions, whatever. And the judge did not end up coming to a decision that day, so he ended up having to spend the night in jail. I had his phone, so like I was directly involved. Like, I had his phone, and he told me not to give it to the police. The judge was like wanting more evidence, and I think he had like falsified some texts, honestly, because at the end of the day when I heard what had happened in court, they literally had found the evidence through someone else that like he had sent these messages and he had threatened his baby mama or his baby mama's friend, whatever it was. So basically, this is so ratchet. I didn't even realize how ratchet the story was. But I mean, I guess that's what you get when you're helping your friend out of jail. So then the next date, court date rolls around, and I go with his mom again. She's like so thankful. She's like, thank you so much for being there for me. Pinocchio's such a little shit. I'm so sick of it, and like he always has problems with girls and guys, and he just has a problem. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just here to help, you know. So basically we go into the court, and it came down to the fact that like I was there to help, and if I wasn't there to help, like she wouldn't have known the dates, she wouldn't have known the information, she wouldn't have known how to help at all. So basically I got his mom the help she needed in order for her to sign to be his liability so that he wouldn't go to jail. So this guy, who was a complete just idiot to me and to basically everyone in his life. I'm not the only person that he owes money. Like, he scams everyone all the time. I've heard so many stories about him, and I just was so blind to it and just decided to be like such a good friend to someone who did not deserve it. All charges were dropped. I think there was some kind of restriction order against him with the person that was involved, whoever he was threatening, and that was it. His mom just had to be responsible for him and make sure, I think he got a curfew and just certain rules he had to follow so that he wouldn't go to jail. But yeah, he didn't go to jail because of my help, and that's how I got my friend out of jail. But if you're ever caught in this situation, like, it's one thing if it's like your family or your friends or whatever, like sometimes you don't have a choice, but if you have a choice, don't get involved in that stuff, like especially if it's someone who's not deserving and who hasn't done you right. And if I could take it back, I would. Honestly, I'd rather him be in jail and face the time that he had to face once again, because he had been in jail before. So I think that's why he was in trouble with the courts once again, because he did have a criminal history. Don't get involved with it, and don't be blind to someone who's just scamming you, like pretending to be your friend and pretending they need help, and really they're just there for your money. Like, I literally got used so hard by this guy, and I was so done with him after this entire situation, because he, for one, never paid me back. He accused me of being a terrible friend, even though I helped him through literally the worst of his times. He would be in jail if it wasn't for me. And this guy literally every single year, even though we had a falling out and I told him I was done with him, every single year this guy throws himself a birthday bash and all his friends pay for it.
And he still had the balls to invite me to that shit. Like, what you mean?
Except all his friends, most of them are just people who want to party, and he'll just invite random people and they'll pay for this huge limo and this huge club event for his birthday because he wants a free birthday. So don't fall for scams, don't fall for friends who suck, basically. And that was the lesson I learned through Pinocchio. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to watch all my other story times if you do enjoy my story time. Subscribe if you haven't already because it's free, and I'll see you guys next time.